right, call the meeting to order for September the 15th, Park Recreation and Leisure Activities Committee. Do I have declarations of conflict of interest?
None.
Seeing none. Bob, can you hear?
Hello?
Yeah.
It's turned up
I
there.
don't have a mic here.
Oh, do you know what? Hold on.
Just one sec, Bob.
Where's the mic check? She's crazy. Whoever's going to be here, open mic.
Hey, Bob, can you hear us?
Point two. No, just say nothing.
Can you hear us, Bob?
He's in. Bob's in. Bob's part of the quorum.
Moved by there, second by there.
Mr. Chair, just one thing, and maybe it doesn't have to be added to the agenda, Frank, but, and Mr. Chair, the dog park out in Hillsborough Park, I know they've been asking for lighting, so is that something, lighting? You are, so that the request is in, so there's no need, thank you.
June 6, 2022.
Moved.
Can you hear me now, Bob?
He's there.
Bob, can you hear us? Is he on there, Christopher?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
There's a little button on the side here. On the side.
Volume? That's what that is. Can you hear Bob? He should be coming through everybody's speaker, though. Yeah.
I did hear him ask him to hang up and.
Okay. We have adoption of the minutes, June 6, 2022.
Good, good.
You there, Bob? Okay. Business arising from the minutes.
None.
See none?
Can you hear me now, Bob? Yeah, I think I can hear you now.
Good,
Yeah.
Computer
good,
there.
good.
There he is. Okay.
Thank you. Bob, can you hear?
Okay, Bob, we're
I
just
can
going to
hear you
start
now,
reports. So, experienced PEI request to serve alcohol in the park for a function that they put on for the last couple of years. Frank, do you want to take that?
Sure. So it's in your report there. You'll see sort of a backgrounder, an issue summary that
This
describes
is
the
for
actual.
Federation Landing Park, I should say.
Yes, yeah. So it's experienced PI. They're hosting an event at Confederation Landing for the Viking Star cruise ship, and they're requesting permission to serve alcohol. They did host a similar type event in
I
2016,
remember that, yeah.
where they did.
Okay.
Were given permission to use the park, but also to serve alcohol. There was no issues at all with the event. The event went very smoothly. It's a very controlled environment because they're actually being served alcohol when they're being served a meal. So it's either a glass of wine or a bottle of beer, but because they're actually serving it, they need a liquor license. And Lobster on the Wharf is the actual organization that will be submitting to the PI Liquor Commission for the liquor license, and they're only going to be using a portion of the park, as you'll see in the attached diagram. It's the middle part of the park, and people can utilize the park all around that.
So just recall to the public knows, Frank, this was the cruise ship, the Viking Star, that did this before, and they're requesting to do it again. And this is where they come off the cruise ship and enter into the Confederation Park, and there's a table there and so on with some alcohol samples. And then I believe there's a band playing too.
Yeah, so there is a tent going to be set up. They'll have all the necessary permissions to do that. I
So
know
this
they're
is
in.
really set up for this cruise ship.
It is really set up for the cruise ship. Yes. It's sit-down dinner. So there's 3 time slots, and they're 90-minute sessions. The one will go in 250. The next one will go in another 250, and the
Okay.
final one will go over another 250. And they'll be setting up on October 4th, and they'll be out of there. Then after
So it's
October
not really
6th, we
set up
take
for the
that.
public, this is set up for that.
Set up for the event, and it's a very controlled event, and they've got all the necessary permits in place to run this event.
Okay, everybody okay with that?
Mr. Chair, could I just mention that this is not new. The Capital Commission back in early 2000 had the place for events that were sponsored by Capital Commission. Yeah, this is all for the Viking cruise ship. Yeah, I'll move it.
And Lando seconded? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
The next agenda is to present the East Raleigh District Park concept design. I will say that we had a public meeting on this, went over very, very well. We had the consultant and Nancy McMinn do the presentation, which I was there also. And like I said, the public were pretty pleased with it, pretty excited. So this is just, I guess, to give an update to the committee, and we're moving on to council for update. Frank, do you want to give some background?
Sure. So Christopher's bringing up the actual new plan there. So we don't have, you'll see when you get to the actual, it'll still say preliminary concept. There just has to be one change, and that word has to be changed. So there was a meeting held with the public. This plan was brought forward to a public meeting in, I'm going to say May, June. It was very positively received. There was a few little changes made to it, but very minor. But you'll see the area that we're referring to here. So the project on your screen there, the area in red, you can see where all the other properties are around it. So it's a very important piece of property to the to this area, and it's a real asset to get the East Raleigh Lagoon, that piece of property, and get it dedicated to recreational land. So Chris, we'll just go to the next one there. So here's what was at the site already. It was just it was an open area that has been filled in. It is still settling, but you'll see there's an existing building. There is an existing a utility building, and then there's also the Bonnie Blink playground area. And you'll see with the property, it borders right onto the creek as well, so it's a very valuable piece of property. If you just scoot to the next section there, Christopher. So this is the concept plan. This is more or less final here right now. We will have the final one, but it seemed to got misplaced. But it says preliminary, but it is final. This is what it ends up looking like. So this was taken to the community, and you'll see how it, on the sort of Robertson Road end, they're proposing some traffic controlling measures there that would allow it to make it safer to get into the park. That is going to be one of your main entrances into the park. You would have a pathway that would go down, straight down to the water area with access to the creek. You'd have your playground area in the middle there. You'll see that you get from the other side on Bonnie Blink end. You could come in that way, and same thing, your playground's in the middle. The Bonnie Blink area now, the old park, would be the equipment we have there. Anything that is good is going to be moved over to this location, but there is a couple new structures need to be purchased. Down the road, that could be where the multi-purpose court goes. So it's, let's say if you wanted to potentially flood it down the road, it's easily accessible as well. You'll see the pathway, how it goes all the way around the park, and then through the middle as well. To your lower left there, you'll see where there's an actual pump track. So this is something that it makes sense too with the mountain biking trails that's over in East Royalty. They're very close. So it's been something we've been looking for a location for it. It's a good site to do it on as well, because we will be removing some fill, and we can take that fill and use it for the pump track. And the site is still settling a bit too, so it works. It's something that can be changed as it goes along because it's made out of clay. There is different types of plantings around the whole area, and just making the area more It's a big area too, so you'll see down at the right a large open space that will just be for free play. One of the key things here is the access to the water. It is somewhat of a steep area, but it is an area you can get down to, and we'll be looking at whether we need to put in stairs or what type of to put in that area. And potentially there could be a lookout right down at the bottom where people could go out and sit on. So outside of that, it's a very good plan. We didn't add a lot of parking, you'll see. I'll just go back to the other one there, Christopher. So you'll see we have a bit of parking at Bonnie Blank, just better defined. It's already there right now. We would look at having on Robertson Road, up around the corner, expanding the parking up there so that it's so there's a bit more up in that area. But as Councillor Bernard realizes, or would realize as well, this is a busy area when the soccer fields are being utilized. So you want to sort of slow people down and make sure it's safe since it is on a corner. And then the old building that there's an existing building, the water and sewer, the utility building there, we were going to be utilizing that and making that into whether it be a place where you could loan out equipment or where you could store equipment. Let's say we have a pump track, you potentially could have a maintenance location there as well. And if you scoot just to the next one there, Christopher, this is some of the inspirations for this area. And you'll see, there'll be a natural component to this. There'd be the Andrews Mill Pond area, the location where it is, sort of the covered areas on the pathway there, the pump track, very cool. It's not going to be necessarily all maintained and groomed and cut grass really short, because around the pump track, you want it to look a little more natural. So there'd be some types of grasses that wouldn't necessarily grow long, but it makes it look very natural looking. You'll see sort of that the idea of the lookout that would be on Wrights Creek, that could be out in that location. The potential, stairs that would go down, that keeps it natural looking as well. But this area is a large area, and it's about 10.5 acres or something like that. So it's a huge piece of property. So, all right. Any questions of the plan?
Just go back to the map, Frank, please.
Christopher, yeah.
So I just want to comment again that Nancy and the consultant that did a good job in the presentation. I really like the end product, what I see. Now that the consultant obviously did a good job of listening to the public. I like the fact that there's a lot of activity and active physical activity, I guess, and then there's a passive area where like number 11 is all clear area. So if kids want to go play frisbee tag or they want to play baseball or what have you, you have that large area to do so. And you have the pump track and the playground equipment, and there's an area there. So it's kind of been done for all ages, whether the seniors, because you're going to be a gazebo there, and it's a quiet area with shrubs and so on. Then you'll have the pump track, and then you'll have the open area. And then you have, as Frank talked about, where the old lagoon used to empty out down into the Wrights Creek. That's a step down, which is beautiful vistas. So there will be a gazebo down there, and you'll be able to look up the river, and then there's a pathway that will take you up into the other part of the landfill site. That's kind of like a phase 2 of this whole program. This will also, the trails, the walking trails that are in now, that are down Oakland Drive, they can connect into this area here by trail, so people can come and go through the trail system that we have. And so, even the tunnel on St. Peter's Road, we have the trail coming through Andrews Pond and out through the woods. You could be able to, that'll hook onto this trail, and it'll take you right to the park. Same thing with the new Wrights Bridge. The new Wrights Bridge has just been constructed. It has the active transportation pathway on the bridge, so you can be able to go up through that way and hook onto the trails to take you to this park too. So very well thought out. I love what I see. So now we're just waiting, I guess, for water and sewer to release the land over to Parks and Rec so we can start. Is that correct?
Yes, there was a few deficiencies, so we're just sort of seeing where those are at, and if those are finished where they're going to be, then we'll start implementing the plan. And it's what we're going to attempt to do this year. It might end up being, say, a pathway. It could end up being the pump track. We're just sort of confirming what we can start with.
Yeah.
And the fact the ground is still settling some, we don't want to, say, put in a playground structure that ends up being lopsided the next year.
Perfect.
So.
Perfect. Any other comments from anybody?
Yeah.
Did you talk about the accessibility too? That if you look at the pump track to the far, I don't have it on. If you look at the pump track at the very end, we had an ability to put in a gazebo that will allow people in wheelchairs or that have accessibility issues to access a really nice viewing area. So the area that goes down to the creek is, there's no way it can be, well, be made accessible without cutting lots of trees, and it would be very, very expensive. But we took that into account and provided another viewing platform for people, even seniors, people that don't want to, go down a steep.
Yeah, so that would be number 15 on the map.
Yes.
Yeah. So if this will be posted, but people can review it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to Nancy and she can fill you in. But
Could we put it back up there?
Make sure you correct the spelling of Charlottetown at the bottom of the proposal. You've got Charlotte, just before it goes. Well, it's just a
all right.
typo, no
We're-
big deal.
no, no.
We could
We're
all
trying
do
to be
it. We're all
open and
human.
transparent.
Yeah.
so
Mr.
yeah, so
Mr. Mr. Chair, Frank, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to say that I did bring this up with the chair maybe a month ago. You and I spoke. I was campaigning down off Cambridge Drive, and they were at the meeting, some of the residents on Cambridge Drive, and they were with the image or the response from the meeting that there would be some footbridges going across the creek. I know that's not in this revised.
Yeah, I think you're talking something totally different. We have a footbridge to go in on the trail that comes off Oakland Drive. There's a street
We saw that one.
footbridge going on.
Yeah, that's the only one. Okay. And Mr. Chair, if you look at this, how it ties in with Acadian Trail, this whole park, how we're putting it all together, ties in with Acadian Trail. Also, if you know, and you're quite familiar with Bridle Path Lane, the kids that are up there, this will be a network for them to get throughout the green space area from Bridle Path right down to Wrights Creek. So look, kudos to you, because this is a growing area, as you know, on both sides of St. Peter's Road, and this will be a big plus.
And that's why, you just remind me, Your Worship, that's why, looking back when there was a big debate here of whether we're going to allow the second roundabout in, this is why it was so important. Everybody on that side of St. Peter's Road to access this park is going to need a safe way, so that middle roundabout hadn't been put in, it would have been quite dangerous for a lot of the kids. So,
And Mr. Chair, as you know, because you represent the area, that there will be cross-traffic coming from the north side of St. Peter's Road, but that's something that we'll have to address with Public Works to ensure that there's safety features there to allow cyclists, walkers to cross over, because I think this park will become a spot of focus or a place of focus. So thank you.
any other comments? We're all good? Okay. Next is, so that's it for the open session. Moving to closed session for two issues. So do I have a mover and a second to move into closed session? Moved by the mayor, seconded by Councilor Yankov. Thank you. Motion to close. Moved by
Sure.
Alanis, second by Bob. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you, Chair.